Welcome, everyone. It is really great to see you all this morning. So, for the next 55 minutes or so, we're going to be giving you some information in support of you hosting a workforce development summer job student trainee. As a way of introductions, we had too many of us to come off mic, but I'm going to ask that in the chat, as a way to get to know you, if you could put your name, your department, if this is your first time, your department's first time hosting a student, let us know. If it's your first time hosting a student, let us know. And then do this for me. When I say the word mentorship, what is one word that comes to mind for you? All right. So again, name, department. If it's your department's first time hosting, note that. If it's your first time hosting a student, please note that. And when you think of the word mentorship, one word that comes to mind. So hello, everyone. My name is Candace Burns, and I serve as the privilege of serving as the Director of Inclusion and Workforce Development. As many of you know, workforce development is part of our greater inclusion, diversity, and equity efforts of the Institute, and we are part of the larger human resources department. We are strategically placed in human resources department because, as you will hear more of, our programs, all the programs that we have serve as pipelines. They're structured like pipelines. So we are really looking to move individuals through career exploration, career experiences, and ultimately to full-time jobs at Dana-Farber. I'm joined by my colleagues, Rachada, Hiranyaket, and Ruby Kim, who I'm just going to ask them to unmute themselves very briefly and just do a quick introduction. So Rachada, do you want to start?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Really, really excited to have you all here today. Rachada Hiranyaket. I'm the Senior Program Manager for Inclusion and Workforce Development. This is my third summer overseeing the program, and really, really excited to have you all here today.
Did you say third summer, Rachada?
Did I say third? I meant my 13th summer. My 13th summer. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. I'm excited and nervous to have you all in the room, I'll be honest. But Ruby?
You didn't want to short yourself 10 years. Ruby.
Hi, everyone. My name is Ruby Kim. I am the program coordinator for the workforce development team. This is my first year at Dana-Farber. So I will be focusing on the administrative logistical processes for the student training program, and I'm happy to be a resource to you for any support that you need as supervisors while working with our students. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you both, Rachada and Ruby. As you all, if you don't know it, you will soon know that I've had the privilege of I have the privilege of working with an amazing, amazing group of individuals and appreciate all the efforts that Rachada and Ruby have put in bringing together this program. So for me, this marks my 19th summer jobs program at Dana-Farber. I can't even believe it. And I always say that it's this time that really for me marks the official launch of summer. So I think it's June 21st that summer starts. For me, it starts the minute we have all of our supervisors in the room are preparing. So out come the white pants and everything else that marks summer for me. So again, we are thankful to each and every one of you for volunteering to host a student. You have no idea the role that you will play in shaping the lives of these young people, and that you're going to be meeting in a few weeks. So let's quickly go through the agenda and what we're going to be going through again over the next few minutes. And for those that might have been latecomers, if you're seeing in the chat a bunch of stuff, what we're doing is our name, the department that you represent. If this is your first summer hosting a student as a department, note that. And if it's your first student as an individual, note that as well. Awesome. So again, we're doing our welcome and introductions. I'll turn it over to Rachada, who will talk more about the summer jobs program. We're going to have a quick breakout activity. And again, really quick, have an engaging question that I think y'all will get with that you'll enjoy, and don't leave. Okay, I know people sometimes see here breakout rooms and they leave. You need to come back because we have a really important overview that's going to be given by our partners from the Boston Private Industry Council. We want to go over our evaluation tool, which is really key to student success this summer. And then, of course, talk about additional support and resources for each of you. And, of course, leave time for Q&A. Next slide. So just a little bit more about our office. Our workforce development initiatives are really centered on increasing access and reducing the barriers to careers at Dana-Farber, primarily working within underserved local communities and then within socioeconomically disadvantaged populations. Our program, which there are several, serve individuals as young as high school students, all the way through unemployed and underemployed adults. So know that Dana-Farber will have probably around up to 600 student interns this summer. Only 70 of those students are workforce development student trainees. Again, because we're being really intentional about the neighborhoods that we're going into, the schools that we're going into, to identify, individuals where the access might not necessarily be there. And then know that our programming within workforce development is also around supporting the advancement of Dana-Farber entry-level frontline non-degree staff by providing them with resources, tools, knowledge to support their advancement. And of course, if you want to hear more about that, I'm happy to take that offline with whoever would like to do that. As I mentioned earlier, our work follows a pipeline model, guiding participants through various stages of career exploration, career development, and career advancement. Next slide. So we wanted to, my slides are on the wrong screen, so I apologize for looking off to the right there. Just want to show you a little breakdown of the departments that are participating, and notice the breakdown of also being on site. We really push for that. We also have the partially remote, and then we have a few departments that are going to be fully remote. But you can see it's a really even breakdown of research areas, operation areas, and then our clinical service areas as well. Next slide. And then, didn't talk specifically about the schools that we work in, but you'll see them here: Fenway High School, John D. O'Brien, Madison Park, all are within a mile of our Longwood campus. And the students that are at the college level, majority of them, not all, started in our program as high school students. And so sometimes, we make an exception. And then, of course, we work very closely with two community-based organizations. And then this is a breakdown of the grades that we're serving as well. Know that they are currently ninth graders, but they're going to be rising sophomores, rising juniors, et cetera, et cetera. Again, just giving you a breakdown. And then, wow, when you see the number of males, young men in our program, that number used to be around 8% back 18 years ago. It crept up to 12%. Last year, we got to 20%. And now to see it at 38% is like, whoa. So we're excited. We love the power, girl power. Trust me, we love it. But we love seeing the young men being interested in careers in healthcare. So any questions at this point? And actually, I'm supposed to say questions, hold off to the end or put them in the chat. But with that, if anyone really has something they want to ask right now, feel free to unmute. If not, I'm going to turn it over to Rachada.
Great. Thank you, Candace, for that brief overview. So again, I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes and really outlining the program structure as well as guidelines. And it's going to be a lot of information, but we are going to share this video. There's going to be a supervisor guidebook, You'll have access to a SharePoint where there'll be resources. So again, love, love, love to put your questions in the chat, and we'll also pause in the next couple of minutes to take questions as well. So this is and Candace mentioned 70 interns. So we actually have 73 this summer, and we have a cohort of our undergraduate seniors and graduate interns who do a 10-week program. They started June 2nd. Our cohort of 13 college students start this coming June 16th on Monday, and then we'll have a cohort of 50 who will start on June 30th, and there are high school students. And so this is a full-time commitment that the students are making over the summer, and it's also Dana-Farber's commitment on the community. And so we're really excited to expose them to the variety of careers in healthcare in your areas. The students have to commit to the 9 weeks for college students and 7 weeks for high school students. They're working 30 hours a week, Monday to Friday. It is a schedule, a set 9 to 3:30 p.m. schedule. And about 25 hours are spent with you all in the department, and 5 hours are spent in structured professional development workshops, as well as some college readiness activities, including weekly college tours that Ruby is planning for the students. The students are in the process of onboarding. They'll be cleared to start in your departments with network access, with ID badges, and then they will also have access to also some resources on campus that we'll talk about. The first day for college students will be June 17th. The first day for high school students will be on July 1st. And so I know that our college mentors have received information about their college students, and then we will assign and send everybody else the information about their high school students next week. So be on the lookout for your student information next week. For high school student mentors, we ask that on their first day, you meet your mentees and pick them up at the Jimmy Fund Auditorium, and then take them back to the department. And we recognize that, some of the placements are fully on site or partial remote. We do ask that this first day on Tuesday, July 1st, that it is an on-site day, so that you could come and greet your students and take them back and show them the department. And then we end the program with a nice summer celebration and award ceremony, scholarship award ceremony on Thursday, August 14th from 3 to 4. All right. So this is a quick snapshot, and I'll take questions because this is a lot. We recognize this is a snapshot of what the student's day looks like. So they typically would spend the morning in the department working. They're eligible for their 30-minute unpaid meal break. On Thursdays, they actually get to sit and have conversations with their lunch circle mentors, their college mentors. And that's a 45-minute conversation on Thursday, so please excuse them for that time. Mondays are our professional development days from 2 to 3:30, and you will all receive a full schedule with the location as well as the topic of conversation for the professional development, as well as the college tours. And then on Thursday, on Zoom, we actually come together with the college mentors and do a little huddle and debrief about their lunch circle. This has been, I believe, gosh, Candace, our 5th or 6th summer partnering with Harvard Medical School Med Science. And so the students will also have the opportunity to go to Harvard Med and participate in a simulation activity. They'll be assigned one of the days, so it's not both. It's held July 22nd to 24th, but they're scheduled for one day and it's either 9 to 10:30 or 2 to 3:30. And so you will know what day and time your student will be assigned for Harvard Med. Okay, so this is where I want to pause now and take, if you can unmute or put your questions in the chat. I'd love to take some questions, or we would like to take.
We have a couple questions in the chat.
Sure.
The first question is, do college students begin on June 16th or June 17th?
Great question. So they attend an all-day orientation on June 16th, and so their first day in the department would be June 17th.
The second question is if we will share the slides.
Yes, definitely. And the recording to the meeting. Other questions?
Still have a couple more questions coming in. Does the schedule that we have on the screen here apply to college students?
Yes, except for the college tours. Our college students do not attend the college tours.
Next question, can you remind us if college students also participate in the Wednesday afternoon tours?
Nope, they do not.
Okay. Are they in person for the lunch circle?
They are in person for the lunch circles, yes.
If our job is fully remote, should we still greet them in person?
Yes, great question. So on the high school students' first day, which is July 1st, we ask that day you could come on campus and greet your intern in person.
Where are the lunch circles held?
Love these questions, my goodness. So our college mentors will be identifying the place and area that they will be hosting the lunch circles, the weekly lunch circles.
There's one person asking that they have not received information on who their student is yet.
Okay, no worries. We will send that out next week. You will receive information, your student's resume next week.
Another question, we have lots of questions. Will the supervisors receive a resume of the student assigned to them?
Yes, so we will send the student's resume next week.
Okay. Okay, one last question, I think. If college students are not doing the college tours, are they doing department work instead, or do they have professional development instead?
Great question. So they would work a full day in the department on Wednesday. We'll change that for next year. We'll say high school student only for the college tours. All right. Thank you, Ruby. One thing I do want to point out, like Candace mentioned, we do have departments that are partial remote and fully remote. And so we're going to be working closely with those departments and those students to really, manage their time, because they might start working from home in the morning, but then they would need to commute in for their Monday professional development day. Or you could even have Monday be their on-site day. So we'll work closely with the department supervisor and the students so that they understand that they have to be at Monday's professional development in person by 2 p.m. And same with Thursday's lunch circles and college tours. Is that all right? I'll keep going. So quick snapshot again of our guidelines, for the students, some of them, this is their first job experience. Many of them, over 50%, are coming back from multiple summers in academic year. And so some of them know the culture of Dana-Farber, and some of them, this is their first time stepping into Dana-Farber. And so we would like the students to be held accountable to all the same standards and any training or expectations to same as any new hire. And so attendance and punctuality is so important, that 9 to 3:30, whether they're on site or remote, they have to work that 9 to 3:30. And so we tell them, and we'll go over this during orientation with the students as well, is that to be early is to be on time. To be on time is to be late, and to be late is not acceptable. And so we really would hope that you all hold students to the same standards of showing up on time. The students have to dress professionally. It's business casual for our students. So they cannot wear jeans, they cannot wear hooded sweatshirts, sandals to work. There's no casual Fridays for our students. Again, we're really trying to set these students up for success and really learn, what it's like to be in a professional setting. As far as workplace behavior, again, holding them to very high standards and following, acting in accordance to Dana-Farber's code of conduct, professionalism, showing respect, how they interact with their colleagues and supervisors are so important because they are representing not only themselves, but also our office, their schools, and the communities, that they are coming from. So the workplace behavior is very important. And one thing I wanted to address is the cell phone. And so this is an area that, we're very mindful of, and we will let the students know that their cell phones should not be out during the work in the department during work hours, unless they're on their break, unless it's an emergency. And so please let us know if you do see their cell phones out. Candace, anything to add?
Thank you, Rachada. Just want to pause and have you all really know that we take this workplace behavior piece extremely seriously. We know what it takes to be successful in this environment and in this culture, and know that we've had the questions, well, we're not necessarily paying for the students are being paid. Maybe not out of your budget, but they're being paid out of a budget, our workforce development budget. And we would expect that if you see behaviors that are not acceptable and you're comfortable in giving that feedback, that you provide the feedback. We know that everyone is not necessarily comfortable in some situations. And so we are here to partner with you in that space as well. That if you want anyone from the team, from our workforce development team to be a part of those conversations, we're happy to do that. But we want to nip it in the bud right from the beginning. The cell phone use, the showing up on time, the engagement. And we know that they appreciate that feedback right up front. It lets them understand it gives them a better understanding of expectations. So I'll end it there. Thank you, Rachada.
Great, thanks, Candace. And feel free, communicate to us early and often. The good and the bad. Please, please, please email us because we are here to support you. We have a corrective action plan. And so if you are noticing something in the workplace, they're constantly not coming or showing up on time, the first time it happens, it is a verbal warning. And so we'll sit down with the student and let them know. The second time it happens, it does get written up and filed into their employee record. And then the third time it happens, of course, we'll continue to coach, advise and sit down with them. The third time it happens, it may lead to termination from the program and Dana-Farber. Really quickly, I will review the timesheet process. So the timesheet process is the responsibility of the student. And so they are responsible to badge in and badge out with UKG, whether it's at a kiosk or at their desktop, when their day starts and when their day ends. Okay, so that is required for our students. They must also complete a weekly timesheet, which you see on the right, that's an example. And they can do it on paper, so they can fill it out on paper, or they can fill it out electronically. And we ask that you do sign off on their hours. So if they came in at, 9:05 or 8:45, if you can sign their timesheet before 3 p.m. on Thursday, they will then scan it and they will upload it to a timesheet submission form. Okay, and it's a form where they're putting their information and they just upload it into a Microsoft Office form. And again, this is the responsibility of the student to complete every week by Thursday, 3 p.m. If there are questions or concerns or issues with timesheets, please reach out to Ruby and she will assist in answering any questions or walking you through the timesheet process. Candace,
I'm not sure what the next slide is, but there's a couple other questions that came.
Great.
Yeah.
Sure. Actually, it goes right into our activity, so it's a great time to take some questions.
We'll take a couple more questions and get right into that activity. So, Joe, yes, if our workday starts before 9, is it okay to start earlier and end earlier? We would prefer that you stick to the 9 to 3:30 schedule. However, knowing the specialty of your work, I think it's an offline conversation that we could look to consider. I would say that. And then, am I correct in assuming that students do not get laptops? Students actually, it is a department decision. So there are some departments that do issue their students a laptop, and then there are other departments that have students use their own laptops going through the encryption process, et cetera, et cetera. So it really is a department decision. Was there anything else? Oh, in terms of, I just want to clarify, college students are starting on Monday. Do the college student supervisors have the name of their college student?
They do.
They do.
They do.
So all of our college, and if you have not received that, and you know that you're getting a college student, yeah, let us know, because we're still having a question around, asking about student assignments. So all of our college students have been assigned to the department, and the department supervisors should have that college student's name because they do start on Monday. High school students?
Tuesday.
High school students, we're still finalizing, but you will get those within the next week.
Great.
Okay. Were we going to bring up the Suffolk partnership?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Were we going to bring up the Suffolk?
I'll let you bring it up.
Oh, okay. Thank you. There are going to be 4 students that are going to be in a special program in collaboration with Suffolk Construction. And this is kind of supporting the work that we're doing with our future cancer hospital, and knowing that Suffolk is also interested in training the next generation of architects, engineers within the space of healthcare. So we've identified 4 students, that high school students, that have an interest in this space. And so it's not, I don't think it was designated on the schedule that Rachada showed, but those 4 students, and we will talk to the supervisors who have those students, they will also spend a half day each week at Suffolk Construction, going a little deeper into learning about the construction, facilities, engineering, architect industry. Really, really excited about this collaboration with Suffolk Construction, and the opportunity for these students to gain even more experience in their area of interest. Again, we will be talking to those supervisors that will have those students, but it will require that they are out of the office a half day each week.
Great.
All
Thanks,
right,
Candace.
activity.
All right, so we've done a lot of talking, and I think it's now time for you all to do a little talking and connecting. And before we queue up our partners from the Boston PIC, we're going to put you all in breakout rooms. And don't leave. Don't leave because we're taking attendance. We're going to put you in breakout rooms of 4 to 5. And if you can, in your breakout rooms, of course, introduce yourselves. This is only a 5-minute exercise. Share your first job experience and a takeaway from that first job experience. And so Ruby's going to open up the breakout rooms, again, 5 minutes, and then we'll see you all back then.
I can go first or go. My first job was in retail at Sears, if anyone remembers or knows what Sears is. I started in the holiday season and I was 16. So my takeaway was the holiday season is not the time to start your first job. Um, it was intense, crazy. Customers were demanding and angry and frustrated, and we had very little guidance. So what I learned was how to stay out of the way and look busy and not get in any trouble. And that was my first job, and did a few other retail jobs after that, but realized it wasn't for me. So.
Great. Thanks so much, Courtney. And I think you brought a good point. You know, this again might be the student's first job experience, and it might feel a little crazy. And you know, Dana-Farber culture and environment can move quite quickly. And so we ask that you kind of stick with them and guide them through and ensure that they're doing well. And great. One more person.
I can jump in. I worked at an ice cream shop for my first job in Waynesville, Mass. And the takeaway that I had was it's called the LAST framework. So you listen, apologize, solve, and then thank. So it's great de-escalation, not necessarily de-escalation, but problem solving. So if somebody comes up to you with an issue, you want to make sure that they feel heard by listening to them, apologize, make them feel seen, solve it so that way the issue's done, and then thank them for bringing it up to you because, they brought it to your attention and otherwise you might not have known to fix it. So that's something that I've kind of taken away and tried to apply in all areas.
Wow, I love that, Daniel. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. So now,
Rachada, there's one more person who would like to share.
of course.
Hello. My name is Wadia Sakta, and actually, ironically, my first job experience was actually with workforce development. And it's been years, a lot of years. I started off as actually a student in high school and then became still a workforce development employee during college and then transferred into a full-time job with Dana-Farber. So I continued with Dana-Farber throughout my career. But I am very, very grateful for the experience that I got with workforce development. It helped me severely with everything that I had to go through in my career. And they taught me like professionalism and like it was I think one of my actual I think Liz is on here. She was one of my bosses at one point, mentors, and I like really looked up to my mentors as like someone that actually can guide me, help me. So it'd be very great. It's amazing like that all of you guys are doing this because I know that they will be very grateful at the end of the day. And you never know, they might be a Dana-Farber employee forever at some point. But yeah, that's it.
Wow. Wadia, thank you. We did not plan that, okay? And wow, thank you so much. And to be able to sort of hear, hear the story, hear the value, the impact from somebody that has walked this path. I'm also going to shout out Tuyette, who's one of our supervisors and started as a workforce development student trainee during the summer. And, again, followed her through her high school, college, and now in a full-time position at Dana-Farber. So this is what it's all about, guys. This is why we do what we do.
Candace,
Turn
may I ask
back
a
to you.
question?
Yeah.
What advice would you give to a new person in the program? So as a supervisor, I haven't done this before here at Dana-Farber. What was impactful to you, and what advice would you give?
Like not treating them as like a student, very much treating them as like your coworker. Like you're not treating them like, oh, like they're like a little kid or like they're younger than me or what have you. Like you're actually treating them like as if they're a real like which they are, but like as like they're your co-peer. Like you're not giving them slack. They're like you need to dress up, you need to be punctual, because you have to set them up for the real world. And when doing that, you like set them up for not just Dana-Farber as a whole, but like as for the workforce in general, like for later on in life. So treating them as an equal and not just like cutting them slack, basically, is the advice I would give.
Awesome. That's great.
To
Thank you
hold them
so much.
accountable.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Great advice. So now I want to transition, and this leads up perfectly, and want to introduce the Boston Private Industry Council, the Boston PIC, who serve as the Workforce Development Board for the City of Boston, and they help identify young talent in the schools, Boston Public Schools, and connect them to internship opportunities. And so I want to introduce Lila Jalilian from the PIC, who serves as the Healthcare Engagement Manager. Lila?
Thanks so much, Rachada, for the introduction. Good morning, everyone. My name is Lila Jalilian, and as Rachada mentioned, I'm the Healthcare Employer Engagement Manager at the Boston Private Industry Council, known by students as the PIC. I have a few of my team members here, so I will pass it to them to introduce themselves.
Hi, everybody. I'm Beck Nofsky. I'm the Senior Career Specialist at Fenway High School, also at Dearborn STEM Academy, but Fenway High School is the one that is the partner for Dana-Farber.
Hi, everybody. My name is Erin Laverty. I am the career specialist over at Boston Latin School.
Good morning. My name is Ariana Hall Gregory, and I'm the career specialist at Madison Park.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kathleen Jens, and I'm the career specialist at the O'Brien.
Thanks, team. So our organization has career specialists at all Boston public high schools. Career specialists are comparable to career coaches or counselors that are in person in the schools working one-on-one with students on all things career prep. They're building relationships with students throughout the school year, running workshops and all pre-internship preparation activities like resume workshops and interview prep. They're also communicating regularly with the students during the summer and are here to assist students and supervisors in any sort of goal setting or evaluation process. Next slide, please. A few slides prior, Candace walked us through the demographics of this summer's cohort, but taking a step back and looking at the larger picture of BPS students, we are looking at an extremely diverse student body. Over 3/4 of the student body identifies as Latino or Black. Close to 43%, their first language is not English, with more than 66 different languages spoken at home. Students are coming from 138 different countries, and a little less than 70% of them are economically disadvantaged, meaning their family participates in a state-administered program such as SNAP, DFC foster care, or Mass Health. I'll now pass it to my colleague Beck, who'll be taking you through some tips on how to supervise young adults.
Right. So Just a quick introduction on my background as well and why I'm the one who is giving this presentation to you today. So I've been working with youth for, I actually just did the math in my head, around about 25 years. So since I was 16, I've been working with other youth, teaching dance and coaching. And then I've also been a teacher, both at home here. I used to work at Franklin Park Zoo before I transitioned to the PIC, and then now obviously working in high schools as well. So I've worked with youth and in this sort of youth development space for my entire career and most of my life. And we were sort of thinking about how to explain to you all as supervisors, some of you may not have worked with teens before, about how to work with students. And we decided to make it easy for you, as you can see from this slide. So we have our little acronym here of setting up your clear expectations, your supervision, and always highlighting and focusing on empathy and equity. Next slide, please. And as we're going through this as well, I do have a handout that I have sent through to Lila and to Rachada and the team as well. So we're going over this a little bit quickly, but all of this information and some more elaborations will be in that handout that will be available to you as well. So it's something that's really important to keep in mind with expectations that was already, just previously mentioned, which is a fantastic segue for us, is to have really high expectations for your students. Workforce development does go over all of those expectations with your students, so they should know what is expected of them in terms of punctuality, in terms of communication, in terms of professional dress in the workplace as well. So any of those expectations, don't feel like you have to start from scratch when you're having those discussions with your students. But it's really important to remember, sometimes we tend to give teenagers and students a little bit more slack than maybe we should. But there's a lot of studies and a lot of research that goes to show that having high expectations of anybody really is one of the biggest things that you can do to set your student up for success. Having clear expectations is also very important, and providing context and details. So sometimes students may need things elaborated on a little bit more than adults would. As adults, especially once we've been in the workforce for a long time, we tend to forget that there are a lot of things that we needed explained to us at first. And it's also just a good habit to practice to make sure that anytime we are setting an expectation, we are setting, an assignment or a job task of any description, just to make sure that you are extra clear on what is expected for the students, and providing those details even in terms of the words that we use. Sometimes I know in healthcare there are a lot of acronyms, in education there are a lot of acronyms as well, and sometimes we have a tendency to sort of rattle off these acronyms without necessarily thinking about whether the person we're talking to understands them, just because we are surrounded by people who do understand them. So just making sure that anytime you're talking to your student, you're providing those contexts and those details. All right, next slide, please. And then when we're talking about supervision, I labeled it this way in the slide because I want us to have a supervision for our students, which is a little bit of a corny joke there, but I enjoyed it. I wanted to touch briefly on supervision versus coaching. And again, this is touched on in the handout as well. But a supervision conversation is usually more one way. It's more directive. It's from the supervisor to the supervisee. And it's normally talking about things like setting those expectations, like having a discussion of, if you are not being punctual, it's setting an assignment, setting a task. A coaching conversation is usually a little bit different. And coaching generally happens as more of a two-way communication. It happens with asking questions and receiving answers, and it's led a little bit more with curiosity. So a lot of the conversations that we have with our students, with our teenagers, can be very helpful if you come at it from more of a coaching mindset. That's not to say that the supervision conversations are not important and should not happen in the workplace. Both of these styles of communication are very important in the workplace, and both of them definitely have times when they should be used. One of the biggest things that I can say as a supervisor, as somebody who's worked with teens, giving positive feedback early and giving positive feedback often is one of the best ways that you can help with your students, that you can connect with your students, and that you can help them to feel very successful. One of the really important ways that that positive feedback works is making sure that students have the vocabulary to describe the things that they are doing. And I've given a little example here, and again, another helpful acronym for us to remember, that if we're thinking of how to give that positive feedback in really quick bite-sized pieces, you can just act. So we're going to acknowledge what it is that the student did. Hey, I noticed that you were speaking to, you know, that guest, and you've been a little bit nervous to speak to patients before. So I really noticed that you were speaking to that patient. You're going to then call it out and give words and vocabulary to the action that they did. You know, that shows a lot of perseverance. I know that it shows a lot of confidence to go up and speak to somebody that you know, were a little bit nervous to talk to. And then you're going to toast. So you're going to celebrate that moment with them, tell them, you know, good job, you're amazing, keep going, you know, all of those wonderful things that we like to hear. So the example that I have here is, you know, acknowledging. So I saw that you handled that phone call with a client. Giving, calling it out, giving the vocabulary is you showed a lot of professionalism, and then toasting with a good job.
What's your plane outfit?
So sorry, was that a question for us? Or?
No, it was.
And then when it comes to giving constructive feedback as well, we also want to make sure that we are trying to find ways that it doesn't feel like an attack. Even me as an adult, sometimes if somebody is coming at me, it feels a little bit like an attack, and I have to take a step back and kind of like work through that moment sometimes. So things that can be helpful is giving a compliment sandwich. So, you know, a positive, something that they need to work on, and then another positive, giving solutions and being specific. So if you can't, well, you can say, but you shouldn't just say to a student, you know, you're doing this wrong, and then end of sentence. It could be, you know, oh, I noticed that you're having trouble with this. Maybe you could try doing it this way. I noticed that we're missing this information. Could you please try to include, you know, these specific things when you're writing? So just making sure that you're being specific with the things that you are asking of them. All right, next slide, please. All right, and then empathy and equity. And this is very important, but again, this is going to be more into the handout because we are running out of time and I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So I do talk a little bit about the difference between empathy and sympathy, and then equity and equality in that handout. So please have a read. I just wanted to sort of highlight some really important things on this slide, not necessarily all of the points. Coming at things from a strength-based perspective. So understanding that our young people have strengths and have really great things about them that we can draw out in the workplace. And then they're not just a blank slate that we can put information into. Being respectful of cultural and language differences, especially language differences in terms of the language choices, not even necessarily if the student speaks another language. Valuing your student for who they are and connecting with your intern. These are probably some of the most important things that we can do as supervisors to make sure that our student feels welcomed, to make sure that we are learning more about our student. Because as for all of us as well, if you get to know them more on a personal level, they are more likely to trust you and more likely to buy into those conversations that you may need to have with them in the future. And as I said, you know, please read the handout that we have sent to you. And then if you have any questions, obviously direct them to workforce development and to the PIC as well. Isla, over to you.
Thanks, Beck. So I just want to take a minute to talk about the Massachusetts Work-Based Learning Plan. So this Work-Based Learning Plan was designed by the state of Massachusetts to provide structure and depth to work-based learning experience for Massachusetts students. So this is a statewide tool that's used. And with this tool, we have 3 goals. To set goals and expectations for the student, to identify skills that can be learned on the job, and assess growth at the end of the summer. So this form, which is a Microsoft Word form, is a 2-page document that consists of 2 reviews. The first review happens early on in the summer once you've had a chance to get to know your intern a bit more and assess their current skill level. This review is basically to just establish a baseline for their skill development. The second review happens towards the end of the internship experience. You will rate the student's skill level in each of the areas that you rated them at the beginning of the summer on a scale of 1 to 5. The second rating is essentially to see how their skills developed and improved from the beginning to the end of their work-based learning experience at Dana-Farber. We also suggest that you mention to them how they can include these experiences and their new skills on their resume. I'll now pass it to Rachada, who will walk us through the timeline for the work-based learning plans. Thanks so much.
Great, thank you. So again, Lila mentioned there's 2 reviews. We ask that you do review 1 by the student's second week of work, July 1st. And this is a form only for high school students. So college students and supervisors do not need to complete this form. And then we ask that review 2 be completed by the end of their internship by August 15th. And we will actually be collecting the final work-based learning plan. And we will schedule meetings with the student, the supervisor, as well as career specialists to talk about the student's overall progress over the summer. All right, I know we have 1 minute left. So again, resources, you have each other, of course. There's a supervisor guidebook that we will share. There will be a SharePoint folder where we will keep the presentation, the video. And please use the Dana-Farber online as a resource. These are hyperlinks for requesting IT device for your intern. There are some training tools provided by our IS colleagues. And I want to highlight LinkedIn Learning. Okay, LinkedIn Learning is free for any Dana-Farber employee, including our student trainees. So use this as a tool, set them up early. It is emailing our IS team who can create an account for the student, but it's close to 20,000 videos from Excel to public speaking to how to code. And so LinkedIn Learning can serve as a resource, a training tool for your intern this summer. And then, of course, please reach out to us for any questions, concerns. We love hearing good things. And of course, if there are any questions about your student behavior, please reach out to us as well.
Thank you all so much. And a quick shout out to Rosemary Gould, who was also an alumni of our program and on this and is now full-time employee. I missed her in my other shout outs. But thank you all so much. We will hold back if anybody has other questions that they want to ask. And of course, we will share the slides out and we will share the video out as well. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.